Today on the show, the Eucharist fights crime and much more. Lent fails. Lenten fails. And going through Lent with your temperament. All this, our picks of the week, and so much more. The Catholic Underground starts now. I need to turn my dial up a little bit so that I can hear everything. Hi, it's time for the Catholic Underground. We're the podcast that tries to cut through the noise of the digital continent and bring you the topics that matter. It's episode number 417. I am Father Chris Decker. Joining me this week, Kathleen Lee, the Teacheress Maximus at Our Lady of Mercy School in Baton Rouge. Hey, Kathleen.
Hey.
And Olivia Gulino, student of life, resident Italian food critic, also here.
It's true. I'm here.
Yep, she does have being. And if we go up to the satellite of hope, your Jeff Star 1, Jeff Blackwell is sitting there. He is our technical director, and he's, manning the phones.
I've given it all he's got there, Father.
That's right, exactly. He's got graphical readouts so that we can see the level of matter and antimatter there, keeping the satellite aloft,
there we go.
As it were. That's right. Ed Ball is the guy in the video cave, so if you're listening to us in the podcast and you ever wonder what we look like and what we're doing, if you want to match a face to a voice, Ed's the one who makes sure that we look as if we know what we're doing with video, you know? Alrighty, well, Lent is in full swing. You know that by seeing the hair on my face.
Yay!
I have beard envy. I have
Kathleen.
beard envy. I must go to confession now.
Please, of all things, don't go to confession over the facial hair that I have, because it's kind of splotchy. I look like a 13-year-old, like, it's coming in. It's a full beard.
No, you don't.
You're going to be all right.
Yeah, well, the one thing
Glorious.
it's very clear that I'm not a 13-year-old because a lot of this hair is gray now.
It gets grayer every year.
It gets grayer every year. I wonder why that is. Yeah. So we're off and running for Lent, and a good deal of our show today is about making our way through the Lenten season. But remember, we go through Lent so that we can arrive at Easter, right? To arrive at Easter Sunday to prepare ourselves. And one of the great gifts that we receive every time we go to Mass is a little preview of Easter Sunday whenever we receive the Eucharist, right? We receive Jesus Christ in his risen, glorified, though veiled form, right? He's veiled by the sacrament. That's what we say, is it is truly him. And so one of the things that has come about in the history of the Church over many years, or many thousands of years now, is what's called Eucharistic adoration. Mm-hmm. And a lot of you may know about it. Certainly Catholics who've been playing the home game for a long time, they know about Eucharistic adoration. And that is where you go to adore the Lord present in the Blessed Sacrament in what's called a monstrance, from the Latin word monstrare, demonstrare, which is what we say to when we demonstrate something. It means we're showing it. So a monstrance is what we use to show the Blessed Sacrament. And so it is not uncommon in many cities to see the Blessed Sacrament made present in chapels and churches. In fact, it's really kind of cool whenever I was making my way through Europe on the Camino to stumble into a little church and see the Blessed Sacrament exposed and one person or a sacristan there keeping vigil with the Blessed Sacrament. So from 2008 to 2010 in Ciudad Juarez in northern Mexico, it was listed as one of the most dangerous cities in the world due to drug and gang-related violence. Yeah. And there's been a dramatic turnaround, and it's considered safer than several American cities, including Baltimore and New Orleans. And so Father Patricio Heilman believes that the change is due not just to, police activity and neighborhood watch and things like that, but specifically to Eucharistic adoration. Father Heilman said, when a parish adores God day and night, the city is transformed. Jorge Gonzalez Nicolas, the prosecutor from Ciudad Juarez, said, Juarez has suffered so much and has been through so much pain, but the city is reviving. It's a symbol of what can be done. There is no other place in the world that has managed to turn itself around so quickly. And that, I think, is really the thing that's most powerful about the Eucharist and why it's so important for the Blessed Sacrament to be present in churches, I don't know, for those of you watching who may not be Catholic, whenever first of all, it's important to restate that we believe that Jesus Christ is present, body, blood, soul, and divinity, is the whole Jesus Christ present in that, under the species of that one small tiny host, that piece of bread that has been consecrated by the power of the Holy Spirit through the priesthood. And so those consecrated hosts are kept within the church in what's called the tabernacle. It's oftentimes a little golden box, as we oftentimes say. And that is kind of like the beating heart, especially of a city like with a cathedral church or something like that. Father Heilman told Radio Maria Argentina that missionaries opened the first perpetual adoration chapel in Juarez in 2013. Said at that time, 40 people a day were dying. 40 people a day were dying because 2 drug gangs were fighting over the city to move drugs into the United States. They were the Juarez and Sinaloa cartels, the latter of which was led by El Chapo Guzman. And so he was recently extradited from Mexico to the U.S. Father Heilman recalled that the parishes were saying that the war wasn't ending because a group of soldiers were with one gang and the police were with the other one. And they were killing people, burning houses down so they would leave, and fighting over the city. And it was right after adoration began that the murder rate started dropping dramatically. From 2010 to 2015, the murder rate dropped from a staggering 3,766 to 256. Of course, one murder is too many, but still, that's a significant drop from in the 3,000, almost 4,000 range to less than 300, almost 250.
In 5 years,
In 5 years, One of the parishes that was desperate asked the missionaries to open a perpetual adoration chapel because they assured that, quote, only Jesus is going to save us from this. Only Jesus can give us security, unquote. The missionaries took 3 days to establish the chapel, and that is what they credit with this really miraculous drop, And now let's see. So Father Heilman, in the article here, told of one incident when the city was under a state of siege. A woman was on her way to the chapel to do her holy hour at 3 a.m. And we should mention that in these areas of many towns, cities, where perpetual adoration chapels are, people sign up for holy hours to go and keep vigil with the Lord, as he asks us to do, to keep vigil with him for at least an hour. And so this, a perpetual adoration chapel is where the Blessed Sacrament is exposed for the entire day and all through the night. So a woman was going at 3 a.m. to do her holy hour, and she was intercepted by 6 soldiers who asked her where she was heading. When the woman told them that she was going to the little chapel, the uniformed men asked her where that could be because everything was closed at that hour. And the woman suggested they accompany her to see for themselves. Clever. That's very clever. Yeah. You know, you always have to beware a holy woman, huh? Why don't you come and see? Gee, who else said that, huh? Jesus said that. Oh, you want to see where I stay? Well, come and see, huh? She leads them. They got to the chapel. The soldiers found 6 women making their holy hour at 3 a.m. as well. And she added, do you think you're protecting us? We're praying for you 24 hours a day, she said to the guards. One of the uniformed men fell down holding his gun, crying in front of the Blessed Sacrament. The next day at 3 a.m, they saw him in civilian clothes doing a holy hour, crying oceans of tears. Within 2 months of the Adoration Chapel opening, the pastor, quote, calls us and says to us, Father, since the chapel was opened, there hasn't been one death in Juarez, and it's been 2 months since anyone has died. And in February of 2016, Pope Francis visited the formerly violence-torn city and spoke at a local prison. He said, let us together ask our God for the gift of conversion, the gift of tears. Let us ask him to give us open hearts like the Ninevites, open to his call, heard in the suffering faces of countless men and women. No more death, no more exploitation. There is always time to change, and always a way out, and always an opportunity. There is always the time to implore the mercy of God. And unquote, end quote. That's very true. And I guess you could also add to that, any place where a pope sets his feet, things often begin to change. Sure. Where the World Youth Days have been, oftentimes there is a radical change in that city, and sometimes even in the country.
Yeah.
And
you know what's so beautiful about Eucharistic adoration is just recently, I mean, I don't tout this a lot because I'm not super smart, but I do have a theology degree.
Yes, she does.
And somebody recently asked me, I was talking to them about an event. I was like, oh, and there's going to be adoration, and they weren't Catholic. And they said, what's adoration? And it was like, the Flintstones stop, you know, and I was like, you know, and I tried to explain it the best I could, but anytime I've ever tried to explain adoration to anybody, it falls so incredibly short of just the experience. And you see these people, you know, the soldier, these women, this city, many people who have come into contact with Jesus in the monstrance, in adoration, in you know, in the Eucharist. Some of them know exactly what it is, and some of them have no idea. Yet every one of them is moved because of what it is.
Yep.
You know, not because of what, you know, what we Catholics believe it, you know, or like what we say or whatever. It's because of what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so hard. That's like the worst question I ever get asked is like, well, what is adoration? I'm like, I just want to be like these women. Come and see.
Yeah.
Just come and sit with Jesus. You know, and what's so beautiful is a lot of times, you know, when I'm talking to my students, it's like, man, you think that you go in there and you look at Jesus for an hour.
Yeah.
Man, but you forget the whole point that Jesus is looking right back at you.
That's right.
Right. And he's like, this is his desire, is to be in these places.
Yeah.
You know, not just in our beautiful, safe, security, you know, camered, you know, chapels that we have in the United States.
Yeah.
But in these dark, dark places where, you know, Jesus is saying, take me there, take me there.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be there.
Yep, exactly. And I think the definition that you gave, it's exactly the same one that John Vianney received. There's the story told about an old man that would go to Eucharistic adoration, just sitting, staring at the tabernacle. You know, it wasn't even the monstrance where the Blessed Sacrament was present visibly. And the priest, St. John Vianney, asked him what he was doing. And the man explained, I look at him and he looks back at me. You know, I mean, how many times do we think about, you know, perhaps in our most kind of lovey-dovey, like, I look at my lover, and my lover looks back at me, right? We have kind of this saccharine notion of being able to do that, you know, over a Lady and the Tramp style, you know, dinner, right?
Yeah.
But that's exactly what truly happens whenever we come to Mass and we place ourselves in the presence of Jesus. We look at him, and because we believe it is him, even though we cannot see his eyeballs, right?
Yeah,
Jesus is looking, he is staring back at us. He's staring at us through eternity. He's looking at us with the lover's glance. And it is a love that is not lustful, it is not usury, it is a love that is whole and full, and one that beckons us inward, right, into him. And that also should be the way that we look at the Eucharist. I mean, one of the things that we also see in many big cities is that, and really even in small cities, is that where respect for the Eucharist declines, right? Respect for Mass and the sacraments declines. That's usually when evil begins to rise up, you know? And so it's important for priests to be unafraid about making Eucharistic adoration, making the Eucharist present in their communities, making opportunities for Eucharistic processions and things like that. I often think about that as well. I kind of been slow rolling in my parish assignments. I'm entering year 5. Saying, really, Father, year 5, and you still haven't done these things. It takes a while to establish things, you know, that have been asleep for a long time. But this is why, because the Lord Jesus Christ has power to transform that which is broken. And if we believe the Eucharist is him, then we simply must place him where he wishes to be placed. As you said, put me there. Bring me to the poor, bring me to the destitute, bring me to the violence, and let me transform it.
Yeah, I love like a Eucharistic procession because it's not only like you have to go into this chapel that's very quiet and there's candles but it's like Jesus is in the streets and everybody encounters him, whether you're Catholic or not. There's a beautiful, beautiful short video by Grassroots Film called "God in the Streets of New York City," and it's a Eucharistic procession in the streets of New York. And to watch people, like, you know, they do a beautiful job of capturing the faces of the people who witness this. Like, there's something about it that makes people stop and be quiet and be still and be like, what is this? You know?
It arrests them, right?
Yeah, and it's an incredible thing to see because I know if I see it, I'm like, oh, hey, you know, I know what's going on. But again, they may not have any idea, but there's something about it that says this is something holy and sacred and special, and you need to be reverent, you know?
Yeah, and you've probably seen that video of on the college campus. See if we can find it and put it in the show notes. Of a priest making the Eucharistic procession, and there are these young women who are obviously very angry, and I think they're touting themselves as the atheists on campus. And as the Eucharist comes by them, they're dumbstruck. They you know they stop spewing whatever it is they're yelling, and they let the Eucharist pass. They can't. And there's something too about that obviously the Eucharist, Jesus himself is beautiful in the Blessed Sacrament. But when you see the people reverent, right? When you see the priest vested, whenever you see the servers vested, and everyone seriously taking the Lord seriously, right? Then that has a power as well. That's why our reverence. That's actually it's piety. It's a spiritual gift that's given to us at the day of our confirmation in its fullness. And piety, true piety, recognizing the liturgical services of the church, recognizing the Lord. Those are the things that can begin to transform, because, Jesus needs to use our bodies to be able to speak to the other members of the body of Christ, especially the ones that are hurting. And so when they see us, like this lady, right? You want to see where I'm going? Well, come and see. Yeah. The Lord needs us to use our voices and to use our reverent postures and things like that, so that we can show that the Eucharist is the core, the source, the summit of who we are as Catholics. Well, then we need to live like that. We need to show that in some way. So Maria in the chat mentions a book that was very helpful for her called Jesus, Our Eucharistic Love, and it's by Father Stefano Manelli, who is a conventual Franciscan. And it's available for free if you want to read it in the Fatima archive, and we'll put it in our show notes as well. And I'm sure you can find a paperback copy of it. But if you want to read it and not pay a thing except your internet provider bill, then we'll make sure that link is available to you. Excellent. Well, yeah, and I'm looking forward to it too, because I'm not familiar with that book.
Yeah, I'm
but
not sure about that one.
A conventual Franciscan who has a licentiate in sacred theology, I'm all on board.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. One of the things that we are on board with, and we hope you are too, is that we are the Catholic Underground. You are listening to The Catholic Underground. We're online at catholicunderground.tv. I am Father Chris with hair. Kathleen Lee also has hair, but it's evenly distributed on the top of her head.
Thank you.
And Olivia Gulino, also be-haired.
Inhaired, yes.
Yeah, inhaired, yeah. Jeff's got hair too. Hey, Jeff.
Hello there. It's under my cap here.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
What about Ed Ball?
Ed Ball, well,
he has a little
you'll have to imagine it.
Don't go there.
Yeah. That's why we don't have a camera on him, because Although I tell you this,
I'm going to pay for that.
No, we
I'll
have
tell
to
you this,
preserve
though.
his mystery. That's why
I've seen pictures of Ed with hair.
Oh,
What?
I have at least
his
one.
Shoulders, yes.
Yeah, and can I just say that, Ed, I think your Captain Picard look is better.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I
He's
need to
blushing.
see that. Second of all, I'm now imagining Ed with like a 90s like mustache. You know
Ooh,
what I mean?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I think
A
if anybody could have
mustache.
rocked it, it could have been Ed.
I'm-
So-
I
did.
vote this year, Father Chris shaves his beard in stages.
Oh.
First,
Yes.
mutton chops, then a neck
okay.
neck beard,
I'll tell you,
Oh God.
then a
there'll be no neck beard.
yes.
I don't work in IT. Sorry, guys.
I mean, let's take a poll on Facebook. You want to see a neck beard?
No, it's not gonna.
Now's your time.
I don't.
Let's
succumb
crown
to your
put-
Now's your
Internet
time.
polls.
Back chat at Catholic Underground.
No. I will say this: when I do shave my beard off on Spy Wednesday, I sometimes do it in stages.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Okay, well then at least
Just-
like take
but it's-
pictures of the stages.
But it's in the privacy of my own home.
Then take this
Yeah.
year as an
You're
extra
allowed.
penance, offer it for souls. Like take pictures
would
of the
be.
different stages, and then Kathleen and I will do what needs best
Okay,
with them.
maybe
Yes.
maybe I will. I
We'll
don't know.
raffle off the opportunity to shave his beard. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
I'm very particular about
Fundraisers?
what razor touches my face.
I don't blame you. Ooh.
Yeah, all right. Kathleen, we have talked your segment
of
away.
Lent.
We've been the Catholic Underground. No,
Yeah.
okay. So, Lent.
Yes.
It's possible
Yes. And
to fail.
It certainly is. If you are like me, raise your hand, because we've all failed at one time or another with our Lenten promise. Okay.
Rebooting's okay.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
and we all know that Lent, right now we're in it to win it. There's no going back. We got to go forward. For the next 40 days, we're focusing on prayer, fasting, and almsgiving.
Yeah.
Right, and we're looking at our own lives, and we're trying to wonder, like, where and evaluate, where does God fit in? Where do we allow him in? Where do we need to allow him in? Where do we need to fit him into our life?
Yeah.
And so this is a great time to evaluate our spiritual life. And so we do that Most of us give up, some kind of creature comforts, or we take up extra penances,
Or both.
or both as a part of Lent. And we start, if you're like not me, but other organized people, you start with a plan. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it for 40 days, and it's going to be awesome. If you're like me, at some point you fail. And it's very possible to do that. It's like, it's very much like a New Year's resolution. By like January 5th, I'm like, gosh, dog it. I totally, blew this out the water.
So this is like, don't be like me. Is that what you're saying? Okay. I gotcha.
But here's the deal. We know that we're going to fail at some point. And for those of you who are perfect Lenteners, good for you. Okay. And that's very awesome. Yeah. But we know that there are ways that we can epically fail at Lent. Now, we're going to go through some of these ways that we can do this. And so, maybe you'll be looking out for these.
Yeah, this is what we call Lent. The via negativa, the negative way. So you'll know what not to do. So, yeah.
But also know that, look, we're day what? 3 or 4 into Lent. If you've already epically failed, try again. It's time to start over. Okay, so one of the ways that we can fail is we treat our penance like a New Year's resolution. Okay, so New Year's resolutions. We started last month.
New
with
Lent,
these,
new me.
Right. Yeah, and so we've decided, we failed at that. Let's restart at Lent. Right. While it's a great thing to do these things to improve your life, doing them just for this reason, or giving up something just for, for weight loss, or because it's not good for us, or, it's not really a good idea, right? If you want to eat healthier and exercise more because you want to take care of the body that God gave you and the gift that is you, awesome.
That's good.
Right? But if you're doing it just so that, the bikini season is coming up and you want to look good in your swimsuit,
tell that to Jesus in the desert.
Let's go a little bit deeper than that. Okay. So it's not like a New Year's resolution,
right. Yeah. Oftentimes I have to kind of walk people back from, they say, well, I'm giving up dessert or this and that and the other, cause I want to lose a little weight this Lent. I'm like, that's not the intent, right?
Yeah.
That's a byproduct of Lenten penance, right?
Yeah.
Jesus fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and at the end, he was hungry. Yeah. The scriptures tell us that. He probably lost a significant amount of weight.
Right.
But Jesus did not go into the desert to lose weight.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yes, that was not the purpose. So let's go a little bit deeper this Lent.
Yep.
And what is the true meaning behind fasting, behind abstinence, behind giving something up?
But it's possible to be a little too into Lent.
Yes, you can become overly scrupulous, I like that word, about making your Lenten fast or your Lenten, promise, whatever, making it perfect. Right? Those of us who are perfectionists and or have scrupulous tendencies can fall into the trap of wanting to make our penances as perfectly as possible. But here's the thing. We've talked about this. We're all human beings, and thus we all have a fallen nature. You are going to fail at some point, right? That means that temptations are going to get the best of us at times. That time when, leftover king cake rolls around and you've given up sweets and you're just like, it's here. I've got to eat it. You're going to be tempted, right? It means that we can't and shouldn't really want to control people or unavoidable situations in which we may be tempted, right? Do your best to stick to your penance. This is important, but remember that the intention is better than the execution at times like these. That's not an excuse to fail, right? But when you do, if you do, right, don't beat yourself up.
Right.
Just start again.
Because what Satan wants to do is he wants to divide and conquer your Lent,
Yeah.
And so you might actually experience a greater guilt,
sure,
during this season, and to be able to say, well, I did. I ate the king cake,
right?
But I'm not going to tomorrow,
right?
Exactly. And that's okay. Get back on the horse, so to speak.
Yeah.
And keep rolling.
Sure. And talking about divide and conquer, right? Sometimes we want to compare our penance to those being made by others. Y'all, we are all in different places in our spiritual, journeys. Some of us giving up that king cake or that cookie or whatever, that Coke every day, is a lot. Yeah. Some of us are going to be fasting every day, right? It's just where we are. And so I should not compare my my sacrifice to another's.
Yeah.
Because it's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
What's good for one person is not necessarily good for another.
That's true.
Or where we are spiritually.
And that's kind of the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't skip sacrificing anything or doing anything altogether.
Yeah.
Like, man, a lot of times we look at our lives and we're like, my life, I suffer enough. I'm always talking to my kids about this. Look, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's an injustice. Just because it makes you a little uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that you are in dire suffering. Okay, but sometimes we look at our life and we're like, look, 2020 started off rough and I'm already suffering. So I think that that's penance enough. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is actually one of the reasons that we should enter into deeper penance, right?
Right.
To say, well, it has been a difficult 2020,
Sure.
but I'm going to offer the difficulty that I've experienced as well as my Lenten penance.
Right.
And the Lord takes that and as a pleasing offering.
Right.
And he will bring those Easter graces.
Right.
Absolutely.
And this is a great opportunity to reflect and spend some time with the Passion of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the greatest things that I heard from a professor, Dr. Brent Petrie, said, Jesus didn't walk the way of the cross so we can follow him to the cross and stand there and look up at him and go, good job.
Yeah.
He walked the way of the cross that we could follow him and climb up on the cross next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, right?
That's yeah.
And, you know, like, what does this suffering mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, look, in my own life, the Lord isn't like, well, Kathleen, this is what your suffering means. Do you feel better about your life? No, right? There's a lot of times where I struggle with suffering. What does it mean, Lord? Right? But the Lord is constantly calling me, inviting me into that way of the cross, even when it's not Lent,
Yep.
and saying your suffering means something, right? A lot of times we look for loopholes, right? In the same way, we're looking for loopholes to get out of something that's burdensome or that we don't like, you know. But these are some of the ways that we can fail at Lent.
Yep.
The main message is, and we may go through a few of these after the break, but try again.
Yep. That's all you can do.
Try again.
And one of the things we'll try to do is come back after the break. We're the Catholic Underground. Stay right there. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, our life, our sweetness, and our hope. To thee do we cry, poor banished children of Eve. To thee do we send up our sighs, mourning and weeping in this valley of tears. Turn then, most gracious Advocate, thine eyes of mercy towards us, and after this our exile, show unto us the blessed fruit of thy womb, Jesus. O clement, O loving, O sweet Virgin Mary. Lenten strings mean no, not Lent at all. You found the Catholic Underground. We're online as always at catholicunderground.tv, and Father Chris with Kathleen and Olivia and Jeff and Ed and the whole gang. And our picks of the week are coming up a little bit later, but we thought we'd kind of continue this list here because you know we don't want to fail in our Lent, but it's possible to just kind of throw in the towel. And so we were talking about finding loopholes because we can do that sometimes. We can say, oh, well, but you see, if I don't do this and I go over here, then it would be possible maybe for me to do.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And, you know, there's a lot of times where we start off Lent and we're like, I'm going to do these 8 things.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Right. Okay.
I don't do that anymore.
Calm it down.
Yeah.
It's going to be all right. Pick 1 or 2 things that you can do well and that you can focus on. And the rest, I'm like, again, it's about the meaning behind it. It's not about how much you do or how much you don't do or what's technically okay. You know, I mean, I know teaching young people, they're always looking for the loophole. But what if, that's my favorite, Miss Lee, what if, okay, no, not what if. Like, you know, pick it and do it.
Yeah.
Right. Don't look for an excuse. If you take it on too much, then let some things go.
Yeah.
Right. And focus on what you need to.
And actually, I mean, I'm a noob when it comes to being kind of Lent intentional. And you're saying, well, Father, you're going to be 39 this year. What do you mean you're new at Lent? For many years of my life, I would take on too many Lenten practices, and I would try to juggle them. Right. But now I do one significant thing, give up. And I even allow myself, because you can on Sundays, to suspend it, right? And that's okay. It's again, because the Lord does not want us to do something that we are going to fail at. There's a difference between a test and a temptation. The test of Lent is so that we will be victorious, right? So that we can unite our suffering to the Lord by depriving ourselves in some way, to give us a desire to be hungry for Jesus, right? And so that's a test. A temptation is so that we will fail. And giving up something for Lent shouldn't be all about just temptation, but it should be saying, Lord, I want to be put to the test so that I may be victorious. So like, don't overreach so that you can kind of say, I'm going to be able to be punched in the chest, No, choose something simple that you can do. And there may be temptation that's part of it, because we do have to experience temptation, right? But allow yourself to be tested.
A good question to ask yourself is, if the sacrifices you're making come from a place of pride or a place of love of God. Right. And if it's for the latter, right, and you're still struggling with something, like if it's for the idea that this is coming from a place of pride,
or perfectionism,
or look what I can do. I'm going to challenge myself to the nth degree, right? And you're still struggling with something. Ask God to help you learn to love your crosses.
And the Holy Spirit's good at that.
That's like a weird, I've learned a lot of weird prayers. Like, Lord, can you help me to be joyful in my suffering? Right? I want to love you. I want this to be because I love you. Help me to love the cross that I bear. That's weird. Right? But it's helpful.
Oftentimes when we think about prayer, we think about, Lord, alleviate my suffering. Lord, remove this chalice from me. But whenever we truly begin to pray like Jesus, because we want to be like him, we say, if I must drink of this chalice, Lord, give me the resolve to do it.
Another way we can fail is when we don't attend Mass again until Easter.
Please don't do that.
Don't do that. If it's not Christmas, it's not Easter, well, then we don't have to go to Mass until Lent is over. Wrongo. Right? Sorry, folks. While it's not mandatory to go to Mass more frequently than usual,
it is mandatory to go to Mass on Sunday.
Yes.
And holy days of obligation.
Now, there's going to be so much rich liturgy that comes out of Lent, right? And so much opportunity to go. I mean, like living, like Stations of the Cross and Taizé prayer services. And I mean, the Triduum comes around and it's just like, oh my gosh, I want to set up a mat in church. There's so many opportunities. We don't have to go to every one of them, right? But you should maybe partake in something more than what you're already doing.
That's right.
If that means that you need to go to Mass on Sunday, then maybe we should go to Mass on Sunday. Right? Maybe you are going to Mass on Sunday and you're like, man, but I have, Saturday mornings free, or I have, a day during the week that I could go to an evening Mass or a morning. Well, hey, maybe you might want to see what the Lord blesses you with in that time. I've never been to Mass and been like, well, that was a huge waste of time, right? And the only time it was a huge waste of time is when I made it that way, right? When I came in, I was like, had 50 things running through my mind. I'm not engaged in the liturgy. I'm thinking about what I have to do other than this. That's when I wasted my own time. But the Lord never wastes our time in the liturgy.
That's right, especially when he's feeding us.
Exactly.
That's one of the things we forget about sometimes in Mass, is that no matter what, the Lord wishes to feed us,
Right.
And in fact, I kind of went on a mini tirade about this yesterday, where, if you hear, I don't get a lot out of Mass, well, it means that I'm already too full when I go in, because Mass is not about me getting anything out of it. Mass, the Holy Mass, is what I go to do to worship God, because that is what God deserves. That is what God's due is. It is me being just to God. Right. And God, who has no need of my praise, right? I simply must worship him because he created me. God is always willing to make about a glorious exchange come about. Because we have come to worship him, the Lord wishes to fill us. But that means when I come, I must empty myself before the altar. I must empty myself as a vessel and allow him to fill me. And then as a side effect, a byproduct, I may feel that I have gotten something out of it, huh?
Right.
But the fulfillment comes not because of what I bring to God, but because of what I allow God to do to me, because I am empty. I am present to him with whatever he wishes to give, whether it is a small drop of water to cool my tongue, or whether it is an overflowing torrent of wine at the, filled to the brim of my soul. Not every Mass is going to affect us in the same way emotionally, but we have to be willing to go and empty ourselves out.
Exactly.
And part of that is drinking deep of the sacramental life of the church.
Exactly.
Specifically confession.
Specifically confession. Yes. Now we only need to go to Mass at Easter and Christmas, and we only need to go to confession at least once a year, right? Yes and no. Okay. The thing is, at least.
Yeah.
That's the very least, right?
Yeah.
If we are trying to look at our own life and decide where it is that we are fitting God in and where we aren't allowing him, a lot of that space is taken up by sin.
Yeah.
By our own junk in our heart that we've waited a whole year to get rid of.
Yeah. Heart junk is the worst junk.
Yes. And so if we are trying to approach the Lord empty and allow him to fill us, then we got to move some stuff out. And a lot of that is junk. Right, and a lot of it is things that we need to get rid of.
Yeah,
right. And the parishes around the world, this is a time of penance. The time to do that. It's a time to clean the storerooms of our heart. Right, and so they are, The Light Is On For You is a popular program where parishes are having Lenten confessions, like in extended hours. They'll have penance services, whole nights where you can just go to confession. Right? And I know, look, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be a little vulnerable here. Confession is not my favorite thing. And I struggled with it, and I do struggle with it for years. I can tell you all day long that it's the most beautiful sacrament ever. But I still struggle with it myself. Because I don't like to go and say, look, Lord, I know that I'm a religion teacher and, this is what I do with my life, but here's all my garbage. Right? But it's so beautiful when you have a priest that just like Jesus welcomes you in and says, come on.
And almost every priest, if not every priest I know, does that, because we ourselves must go to confession. We are sinners too. And we have plenty of garbage that we have to bring to the Lord. And he is not just a garbage collector. He is a true sanitation engineer.
Yeah.
He will say, I will take this. It will be incinerated in the ocean of my mercy. And I will give you everything that you need. You thought the garbage was the stuff that you could just wallow around in and you feel safe in. Wait until you experience the torrents of my mercy. You know? Absolutely.
Exactly.
I guess we should probably leave a couple for the folks to look at.
One of the things, just what I want to close with, just what I want you to do. This is my challenge to you. Whatever you pick, whatever you decide, do it with your whole heart.
Yep.
Do it quietly, right? One of the worst things is when we start comparing and we start, oh, well, I'm doing this, and woe is me. I can't do this because I've given up coffee and I'm just going to be a beast. It's like, okay, but do it with your whole heart and allow the Lord to surprise you this Lent.
Yeah.
If you put in the work and the effort, he is going to bless you and reward you and draw you in closer to the cross, which is what we all need in this season of Lent.
That's right.
Sure.
And as we continue that discussion about Lent, one of the things that we also recognize about ourselves is that we're all different. Pretty much all of us here in the studio have different temperaments, or ways that we look at life, that we look at the world, and that we think the world looks back at us. And so, Olivia, it's possible to kind of think about what to do for Lent based upon that temperament.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when we pick something that we're going to do for Lent or something that we're going to give up or add in or whatever for Lent, we tend to look at the kind of material aspects of our life, where do I spend the most of my time, what things am I most attached to.
Yeah.
But I think part of asking those questions is also realizing, okay, well, I'm drawn to certain things that Kathleen is not, that Father Chris is not.
True.
Not just because we're different people, even Kathleen and I are both female, but we're different instantiations of what it means to be female. But like we also just have different personalities, you know, so
Yeah.
like even though we grew up in the same place, we're, you know, similar in age and like
We all
we
know
have
about the
similar
joys
friends.
of raising Cane's chicken. We are still different.
Amen, right? We're 90% sweet tea and pearls. We have different personalities. So you might have heard, I think we even talked about temperaments on our last show, like just naming
Yeah.
them. But it's actually a pretty ancient way of kind of thinking about the human person. But it's still used today, not in the way that Hippocrates used it way back when. But it's a way of looking at your different kind of like tendencies or inclinations or like qualities about yourself. And you know, we live in a personality test kind of world, right? You can go on BuzzFeed and find out what kind of potato you are.
I'm a
But
russet, thank you very much. Actually, I don't know.
organic red gold, no, I have no idea.
I like to think I'm a Yukon Gold, baby. Yeah, that's true. And these personalities or these temperaments, if you will, because they're Greek, huh?
Yeah.
They have really weird names.
Yes. And so there's sanguine, which is if you know your Greek and or Latin, is it. So the 4 temperaments used to correspond to the 4 humors, and we're not going to talk about that because it's gross. But if you like are looking at that word sanguine and you're like a doctor or something, you're like, doesn't that mean blood? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
But we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, there's
gross.
some ancient Greek roots for these words that have to do with all the fluids that the body had.
Yes, and
Ew.
I'm
Or they
averse
thought
to the
that the
word
body had.
fluid,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna move on. But yeah, there's sanguine, there's choleric, there's melancholic, and phlegmatic. And so again, all of these are like, I don't want any of those words to describe me. But
yet.
they're pretty recognizable once we think about it. So sanguine, these are your life of the party type people. Like they're highly talkative, enthusiastic, social. They're very active. They tend to be more extroverted, and so they really enjoy being part of a crowd. That's where they get their energy. And they find that being that outgoing, charismatic person is like pretty easy, right? Comes very easily for them. Sometimes individuals that have this kind of personality have a hard time doing nothing, and they can be a little more like risk seeking.
Yeah.
Choleric individuals tend to be extroverted as well, but they're also like very independent, they're decisive, they're goal oriented, they're ambitious, and they have this kind of maybe like dominant, result oriented outlook on life, which makes them natural leaders, but it can also make them maybe like hard to be a follower. And then sometimes, you know, the beautiful thing I love about the temperaments is that it doesn't just tell you like the good things about your personality. It also tells you like things that you might struggle with.
Yeah.
And so choleric personalities sometimes can be short-tempered, right? Or even like vengeful. Then there's melancholic. And they're not like Eeyores, they're not like sad people, but they tend to be like analytical, very detail oriented. They tend to be people who think deeply and feel things really deeply. They also tend to be introverted. And so like if there's a crowd of people, they're like really looking to not be in the center of attention, right? They're somewhere like near the punch bowl or offering to refill the chips, you know?
Like most middle schoolers at dances, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Everybody's on the wall, along the wall.
That's right. Yeah. I was always the snack filler. But yeah, so melancholic personalities tend to be kind of self-reliant, thoughtful, maybe even a little anxious, reserved, perfectionistic, right? And then you have phlegmatic, and these are like some of my favorite people. If you know a phlegmatic, like they're just easygoing, they're very relaxed, they're peaceful, everything just kind of like slides off their back.
I know why phlegmatics, you like them.
Because they're the opposite of me.
Sounds like your boyfriend. Just saying.
Yeah.
What I know of Matthew, I bet he's a phlegmatic.
I think he's melancholic, but he's also like, I think he's partly phlegmatic
think
too.
so, too.
Yeah. But yeah, so sympathetic, care about other people. Sometimes they can, they're good at like problem solving. So it's like if there's a problem, even if it's like a huge problem in front of them, like they're just kind of like, okay, like, you know, just roll up their sleeves and get to it.
So with all these temperaments,
Yeah.
Necessarily we say, oh, well, if these are the things you tend towards,
Right.
then we can look at that in light of Lent.
Exactly. So if you have a more melancholic personality, and granted, people have like, according to the temperaments like theory, you have like a dominant personality kind of characterization and then a secondary one. So like I'm like melancholic, phlegmatic. Kathleen, you said you were
I'm sanguine choleric.
Sanguine choleric, right? So one being like your dominant, and the second one being your secondary. So, but if you're like more predominantly melancholic, then maybe something to think about during Lent is, you know, that perfectionistic streak that you have, give it up, right? And this one like hurt me pretty deeply. But in the book, The Temperament God Gave You, it said that, it's quoted that a melancholic so longs for heaven that he can never be happy with less than perfection here on earth, right? And that can be like a hard pill to swallow. So something to work on during Lent is realizing like, well, I'm never on my own accord going to be able to make things perfect, right? And that it's not dependent on me being perfect for people to love me, right? Including God, right? God looks at me in love, and he looks at all of me in love, even the things that I wish I could hide from him, and he loves them anyway. Yeah. And so during Lent, maybe things that we can do are to work on giving up that perfectionism, right? So spend time in Eucharistic adoration, like I was talking about earlier. Let God look at you, right, and kind of wash over you with that look of love, right? Give up negative self-talk, right? Recognize those patterns when I start to think about myself negatively, and then just cut those out, right? As soon as you recognize I'm about to do it, just change your attention, focus on something else, you know? You can practice saying no, create healthy boundaries. Melancholics tend to be people who are just like, say yes to everything. And then create breaks in your schedule to free focus on the Lord, right? Use your detail-oriented self to schedule in time for Jesus, right?
Which you can do. You can actually put that on your calendar.
Yeah.
You can put 10 minutes prayer.
Yeah, it works.
You can make an appointment with yourself, as they say.
Put a little reminder in your phone. Except
you're making an appointment with the Lord. Exactly. And I know people that do that, especially during Lent, at the hour of mercy at 3 o'clock, right? They'll put a little note in to either say the Divine Mercy Chaplet or just simply pause. Yeah. You can do that.
Yeah, it's a great thing to do. So if you're a choleric personality, cholerics can be like, they live on extremes. I think St. Peter probably would have been like a choleric, right? They're either like great saints, great sinners. They're go, 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 right? And so sometimes though the key to realizing your goals, right? You have these goals, you're ambitious, and the key to realizing these goals is having control of a situation. But sometimes we can grasp too tightly, right? So maybe something to work on during Lent, if you have this kind of personality, is, you know, choosing the right goal, but then surrendering control, right? And that's a hard thing to do. But sometimes what we can do is we can get in our own way, right? If I'm going to take control of a situation, then I'm not allowing other people to breathe life into that situation. And I might be hampering what God's able to do in that situation. So some things that you can do to sacrifice control during Lent: add the litany of trust into your daily prayer routine. That's a really beautiful, really challenging prayer. It is. And especially if you pray it every day, watch the transformation. You can also consecrate yourself to Our Lady, right? Jesus was the second person of the Trinity, is the second person of the Trinity, and he gave himself into the protection of Mary and Joseph, right? So consecrate yourself to Our Lady, consecrate yourself to Joseph, and
which,
see
by the
what
way,
they
is
can do.
Awesome. The consecration to St. Joseph is fantastic.
Yes.
I'm learning a lot. And did you hear that, Jeff? I'm learning a lot. Jeff always says, you know everything. No, I sure don't. Let me tell you, there's a lot to learn. So that's choleric.
That's choleric. Sanguine, these tend to be like your really social people, but they might find it tempting to kind of go from task to task, event to event, and it can be hard to either persevere with one thing or to stay organized with all the different things you have going on. So maybe during Lent, resolve to give up disorganization, all right? Or to when you say yes to something, like you mean yes, do it, right? Or go to it, whatever it is. So some things that you could do in order to give up disorganization: you could write down things that you're going to do, and kind of give up on like, oh, I'll remember, you know, keep a calendar, keep a journal, whatever it is, whatever works, keep a to-do list. You can resolve to end the night by tidying up your room or your desk, or organize that closet that's been haunting you for years.
Observance.
Yeah, just like end the day with a tidy desk. Kathleen, you okay?
I make sure my laundry is folded. That's what I do.
right? Or you can even like sit down and write out a budget plan, right?
Kathleen is not having. Okay, keep going, Olivia.
All right,
'cause,
I'm sorry. Okay, and then the last one, phlegmatic, right? So the phlegmatics are so easygoing that sometimes they can be like maybe even complacent.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. But they're probably already pretty careful in their speech and thought, but maybe to the point of the people characterizing them as like detached, right, or adaptable, right? And so maybe they fear conflict or confrontation. They just go along with what's happening. So maybe during Lent, work on giving yourselves a little more like structure, a little more like kind of motivation, right? So give up the snooze button.
Oh, that's a toughie.
Make the shower a little colder, add some structure into your daily prayer life, right? Give yourself a routine. Turn the television off by a certain time every night, right? Add that structure in that might keep you from falling into those complacent ways just because it's easy or it's convenient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's those are definitely, I mean, that could keep you going for 40 days.
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome that we're able to kind of use our personality, or I should say our temperament, in such a way that the Lord can use us, All right, one of the other things that we use this part of the show for, it's that time that we like to call
the CU Pick of the Week.
All right, that first CU Pick of the Week. Kathleen has unfolded something here, so I guess we better go with you first.
No, of course. Okay, I like to buy things. Okay.
Yeah.
I also like to buy things that are purposeful. So I found this company. This company has been popping up on my Facebook feed.
Oh, so therefore.
And haunting me. Called Pura Vida.
I think you're stalking
Pura
you
Vida
right
means
then.
live free and spend. I know. And then they stalk me and wear me down. And whoopsies, I buy 50 things from them. But
Don't say they're listening right now.
I know.
Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
But anyway, it's this company that makes bracelets, and what the short end of the story is two founders in 2010 went down to Costa Rica, where they spent the summer down there, and they found these guys that were making bracelets. So they bought 400 bracelets from them. They brought them back to California and San Diego, and they rapidly sold out. Mm-hmm. And so they started a company called Pura Vida, which means live free, where they partner with artisans, jewelry making artisans around the world, to help sustain them, to help give them,
meaningful work.
Meaningful work.
And sustaining
they
work.
have all these cool different, and I'm wearing 3 of them if you're watching. I bought 3 of them.
Oh,
some of them are
nice.
braided, some of them are not braided, some of them have little charms on them. They're pretty cool. And, I like cool things. So Pura Vida. And I like supporting artisans around the world. So there you go. Pura Vida.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah. Olivia.
So my pick of the week is also jewelry related,
wow.
which was unintentional. But so it's called a company called Hello Adorn Jewelry, and it's kind of similar to Kathleen. It's one of those things where like I saw it on Instagram and I kept seeing it, and they got me because I was like, oh, this is cute, and it's like kind of minimalist jewelry, which is a trend right now. And I don't like very like flashy things. Again, like I'm melancholic. I don't like to be the center of attention. So like I like kind of understated things. And so the earrings I've been wearing, I don't know if you can see it if you're watching.
They look
they're
like
like little twisties, yeah. And I don't have double piercings, but they're just little like coils, little twists.
Yeah.
Kathleen is sold.
Yeah, right. They're really comfortable. I can wear them, like I wear them to sleep, and they don't like stab me in the
I love it.
whatever this is behind my ear. But they like really beautiful rings, really beautiful like necklaces, and all of it's kind of again that like minimalist, but the price point is pretty reasonable too. So if you're looking for gifts or just for yourself, Hello Adorn.
There you go. I will not be buying any earrings because I do not need them. Jeff, your pick of the week.
Nor do I. And another thing I don't need is a mustache brush or comb. So.
That's right. Mustache brushes. Those are things.
I know, and I wish I had something there that I could, Anyway,
that's all right.
My pick of the week is a really cool mixer I got to do some hands-on with, and it's a very compact size, but it is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's made by Zoom. It's called the LiveTrack L8. It's got 6 microphone inputs. It's a small format mixer for podcasting or musicians, built-in SD recorder, which discreetly records each input to its own file.
Nice.
It's got 4 headphone outputs, with their own independent volume controls, 6 assignable sound pads. So if you have a
What?
little theme song
That's
or
awesome.
sound effects that you wanted to, assign to those, you could do that.
Man, if we'd have had one of those back in the day, Jeff, we'd have been unstoppable.
I know.
Unstoppable.
I know. Well, let's.
We haven't stopped yet, though.
No, that's true. 12-in, 4-out USB interface, and it comes with some software. You can tie it into your laptop. Automatic mix minus if you're having phone guests come
Look
in.
at that.
Yeah. Up to 2.5 hours on 4 AA batteries, and it's only $399, $400. So,
That's insane.
it is incredible. And the mic pre's are just super clean. They really sound great.
Oh my. Oh
right.
my.
So what
Oh,
is your-
dear.
what
My
is your
pick of the week? Okay, so on my day off, I had a funeral yesterday and a whole bunch of things in the office, and so I like to kind of I'll take the clerics off and go into Clark Kent mode and go into a bookstore and hope nobody can find me there. And they have started publishing these Star Trek illustrated handbooks for the different ships of the line.
Oh.
And so I geeked out. This is the USS Enterprise NCC 1701 and 1701A, so the original series Enterprise. But what's really cool is if you're watching Star Trek Discovery, they show you from Captain Pike's Enterprise through. So they kind of have updated it for the new shows. Really neat if you want to see some high-res ships, because of course I do, and lots of cool illustrations, and it's a lot of some of the same stuff that I have in my technical manuals, but it's presented in a new way. So I fell to the book.
I mean,
to the
they got
book
floor
fairy there.
plans and all that
It's,
kind of
oh yeah, it's
Oh,
cross
I
sections,
love it.
uniforms, rank insignia, all sorts of
Yes,
stuff. I think that I was
indeed.
supposed to be in the Navy in another life. I really do. Or maybe the Space Force, as things are now. Who'd have thunk it? But anyway, it's called Star Trek: The USS Enterprise, NCC 1701 and 1701A, illustrated handbook, and there are those for the Enterprise D if you're a Next Gen fan. And also the other ships of the line, really high-res renderings of them. So I'll put the show notes link there as well. But you can usually find them in your more robust bookstores
And about
as well.
how much?
This was $29.95.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so again, $30 for a nice coffee table book. I like coffee table books. And my guests that come over, what's really cool is guests that will come over, they'll say, "Oh, I didn't know you liked ...
Yes.
And so you can find out a lot about a person by the books in their coffee table,
Right there on the coffee table.
And that's right, exactly. We need to do a Catholic Underground book then, so that people can find out about us from you, right? Yeah, we're always grateful for those of us who put us on their coffee table on their laptop, aren't we, Jeff?
Indeed, yeah. This week, the Catholic Underground is possible because of people just like you. Join the growing number of undergrounders at CatholicUnderground.com/donate. An important way to support us is to like us, heart us, star us, and share us on your social media platform. Also, leave a review. That helps a lot for us.
That's for sure. And as always, if you want to find out more about who we are or what we do, CatholicUnderground.com is the place to go. You can subscribe to the CU podcast, as well as get all of our back episodes as well. Our panelists this week have been Kathleen Lee. She's our Faith Ninja and Hope Samurai this Lent at klee626 on the Instagram.
Yep, there I am.
Yeah. Olivia Gulino, she's at the.real.omg on all of her social media contacts.
Yes.
So you can get to know her a little bit better outside of the show, right? Jeff Blackwell is our technical director up on the Jeff Star one. He's at jeffblackwell.us and at Jeff Blackwellis on Instagram and Twitter.
There you
right?
go.
Yep, there it is. Our research assistant and the leader of the crew in the lab is Jim Hayes. Our video and our graphics director has been Ed Ball. You know me, I'm Father Chris Decker. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Digital Catholic. And we hope that we've helped you cut through the noise and find that still small voice. We are the Catholic Underground. We are on our Lenten journey, and we will see you next time.
From the Catholic Underground.